We are about to find out a little later today, we believe, whether the Federal Reserve is going to be cutting interest rates.
Something we've been keeping our eye on for sure. The markets do expect a small cut, while President Trump has been calling for more aggressive action. Doug Luzader has more on this from Washington this morning.
President Trump with his signature dance moves closing last night's rally in Pennsylvania. We'll see if he's still celebrating later today after the Federal Reserve weighs in on interest rates.
You got to get the rates down, you schmuck, you know?
The president talked about the potential cuts last night and berated Fed Chair Jerome Powell for not cutting rates more aggressively. But Powell has been worried about rising prices, essentially the reason for last night's rally in the first place.
And I have no higher priority than making America affordable again. That's what we're going to do.
Trump hoping to regain ground on the economy in what is expected to be a key issue in next year's midterms. And he blamed Democrats for huge price spikes during the Biden administration.
Democrats talking about affordability is like Bonnie and Clyde preaching about public safety.
Donald Trump had the unmitigated gall yesterday to rate the economy an A+.
Democrats, though, blame Trump's policies, especially tariffs, for rising prices. That is part of the balancing act for the Fed today, trying to figure out where prices are heading in the months ahead. And in the meantime, last night's rally may be just the first of many.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of President Trump in the next year on the road, campaigning and also talking about the economy.
All right, Lupe and Doug into the conversation live here. Any expectation on how much they could lower rates here and what expectations are from the Federal Reserve and its potential impact on inflation as well?
Well, the Fed is very widely expected to cut rates a quarter point today. That's kind of baked into the market's assumptions. That's been the assumption for a while here. If it's anything other than that, above it or below it, we're going to see some impact from the market. You know, as far as inflation is concerned, the Fed's concern is that any time you cut rates, that can trigger some upward pressure on inflation. And this comes at a time when inflation is not super high, but it is elevated somewhat above what the Fed really likes to see. But the Fed also has concerns about slowing down the economy if there is not some kind of a rate cut. So they're trying to kind of approach this from a middle ground perspective, assuming that there is a cut today.
And you mentioned some of that pressure. So just how is Fed Chair Jerome Powell handling the ongoing pressure to cut these rates from President Trump? Well,
it's not just Powell that makes this decision. There are others as well. Powell has the same concerns that a lot of economists do, that if you cut too aggressively, you could potentially fuel inflation here.
All right, Doug, thanks for the update. We'll be watching later today to see exactly what is decided, if anything. Appreciate it as always.